Welcome to Hilary Emmanuel Ministries, where faith meets power, purity and prosperity, and breakthroughs are born. At Diadem, we equip you with bold prayers, life-transforming teachings, and spiritual strategies to overcome every challenge life throws your way. Join us as we dive into God's Word, experience His presence like never before, and walk in His purpose for our lives. If you're in London, we invite you to fellowship with us in person at Diadem, 4 Pegamoid Road, N18 2NG. Don't forget to subscribe now and let's grow in faith together.
Thank the Lord for the success of our Power Conference. We bless the name of the Lord for everything He did at the program. The kind of experience we had in that program was awesome. It was spectacular. It was very, very great. And such a result, such divine visitation, will only create something in human being. It will transform a man or a woman, a child, a youth, an adult. It will change you to somebody very powerful. It will transform you to a valiant man, a valiant woman. It will turn you to a man of valor. If you read the Bible, you come across some people the Bible will describe as mighty man of valor. You begin to ask, what did they do? What happened? It's because there was some level of power in them that they demonstrated. The power of God came upon them. The encounter they had with God changed their lives. And you know one thing, power is good, but power has enemies. Sometimes also the way God operates is so mysterious. He can put power upon us and might not address some other issues in our lives. Leave those issues there. Just give up, because His power we cried for. And give us power. And where there are some underlying problems here and there, and power comes upon it, it creates some problem, creates some blemishes. And that's why we want to deal with what we want to deal with today. As I want to talk to you on what I call valor without blemish, which means strength. Valor means bravery, means great courage in the face of danger or battle. It means heroism, it means boldness, gallantry, it means lion-heartedness. But sometimes somebody can be all these things and the person can still have some stain. The person can be valiant, bold, on all these things, and still there still some blemishes. So it's those blemishes we want to take away today. It's those blemishes we want to remove. We want to cry unto our God and say, look, you can't leave this blemish in our life because it doesn't go with the power you've given to us. Look at Joshua chapter 5. Joshua chapter 5. Look at verse 2. At that time, the Lord said unto Joshua, make these sharp knives. This wasn't the first time God will visit Joshua. You remember Joshua? You remember that all these 40 years in the wilderness, Joshua was sleeping inside the tabernacle. The moment they built that tabernacle, that's where he never departed from the tabernacle. Remember that all the time God will come down and be speaking to Moses face to face, Joshua will be there. Joshua has seen God. He has seen the glory of God. He has encountered God before. And even when Moses died, God came to him and said, my servant Moses is dead. Now therefore get ready, take over, and lead these people and divide the land for them. And so on. And he encouraged him in Joshua chapter 1. So Joshua had an encounter with God. But this time around, look at what happened. So the Lord told you, he said, make these sharp knives and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time. And Joshua made him sharp knives and circumcised the children of Israel at the heel of the foreskins. Verse 8. And it came to pass, when they had done circumcising all the people, that they abode in their places in the camp till they were whole. And the Lord said unto Joshua, after that circumcision, they were about now to enter the promised land. Look at what God told Joshua. He said, this day have I rolled away the what? The reproach of Egypt off you. Reproach there is blemish, stain, shame of Egypt. He said, today I remove it from you. The issue is that Joshua never even knew he was carrying any reproach. Because that's the mystery of these spiritual things. You might not even know you are even carrying any blemish. You might not even know you are even carrying any stain. You might not even know you are even carrying any reproach. Joshua wasn't conscious or aware of this at all. And this reproach, he says from Egypt. He says from Egypt. He has been carrying it from Egypt. And this reproach has been following him. The Bible says, wherefore the name of the place is called Gilgal unto this day, verse 13. And it came to pass when Joshua was by Jericho that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, art thou for us or for our adversaries? And he said, nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship and said to him, what said my Lord unto his servant? But what I want you to notice is this. Joshua didn't know he was carrying this reproach all his life. So all this while, he was sleeping in the tabernacle. And the glory of God will come down and cover the whole tabernacle. The reproach was still there. The reproach didn't depart from him. For 40 years, most times when Moses go to the mountain for 40 days to meet God, Joshua will follow him to a distance and stay there and wait for him. All those experiences, brethren, the reproach was still hanging on there. He survived the 40 years. There were only two that survived it. Only himself and Caleb. So all these 40 years, the reproach still clung onto him. Refused to let go. Now they entered the promised land. The reproach was still there. He became the king, if you like, the ruler, the leader of the country. And the reproach was still hanging on. The reproach was still hanging on. He fought against those 5 kings. You remember that battle? He fought against those 5 kings, prevailed against them, destroyed them, took their land, distributed their land to the children of Israel. The reproach was still there. So if you want to judge or write anything about Joshua, 1, because he has been war tested, he has fought battles, destroyed 5 kingdoms, destroyed Jericho, took over Jericho, destroyed so many countries, Ai and all of them, and all those things, you will say he's a mighty man of valor. He was a warrior, a strong man, but with reproach. That but there is what we want to get rid of today. That reproach is what we want to get rid of today. That you are winning all the battles. You are doing very well in everything, but there is a blemish somewhere. There is a reproach somewhere. You might not even know about it. Joshua didn't know about this until the Lord told him. He has had several encounters directed with the Lord, and yet the reproach was hanging on. Judges chapter 6. Judges chapter 6. Look at verse 1. Judges 6 verse 1. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of Midian 7 years. And the hand of Midian prevailed against Israel, and because of the Midianites, the children of Israel made them the dens which are in the mountains and caves and strongholds. And so it was, when Israel had sown, that the Midianites came up, and the Amalekites and the children of the east, even they came up against them. And they encamped against them and destroyed the increase of the earth till thou come unto Gaza, and left no substance for Israel, neither sheep nor ox nor ass. Verse 5. For they came up with their cattle and their tents, and they came as grasshopper for multitude, for both they and their camels were without number, and they entered into the land to destroy it. Verse 6. And Israel was greatly impoverished. Not ordinary impoverished. Greatly, because of the Midianites. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord. And it came to pass, when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord because of the Midianites, verse 11, and there came an angel of the Lord, and sat under an oak which was in Ophrah, that appertained unto Joash the Abiezrite, and his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress, to hide it from the Midianites. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him, and said unto him, what did he tell him? Take note of those things. The Lord is with thee. And then, do you see that? The Lord's presence is with him. Mighty man of valor, but greatly impoverished. That is the blemish. Greatly impoverished. Reduced to nothing by the enemies. And yet he had the presence of God. He said, God is with you. Angel cannot lie against him. He said, the Lord is with you. And you are a strong man. You are a very powerful man. A mighty man of valor. But the blemish is there. So you can see, brethren, that in God's record, someone can be very great. Someone can be a man or a woman of valor. But in real life, here on earth, the person is oppressed by the enemies. Gideon, the angel say, great man, valor, but the Midianites are oppressing him. The Amalekites are oppressing him. Somebody can be great man, great woman of God, or man of valor in the sight of God, but in the physical on earth here, the person is greatly impoverished. That is the blemish. That is the blemish. You know, one will have been reasoning that all this while the glory of God will come down, and Joshua was sleeping inside the tabernacle. Shouldn't the glory of God melt all those reproach out of his life? Didn't touch it. Didn't touch it. Because why I want us to be very careful is this. So that we will not say, I'm carrying the pillar of power, the pillar of fire. The same thing that Joshua had. The whole pillar was there following them. The whole thing is inside us. But that pillar might not go closer to poverty. It might leave the poverty hanging in there. If you did not address it. That's why we want to address anything you identify in your life as blemish. You can see in God's record, the angel was just reading from what he saw in heaven. Mighty man of valor, a great man, and all those things. But yet, it did not stop the enemy from oppressing Gideon. It did not stop the Gideon from being greatly impoverished, struggling to survive. And that's the blemish we are talking about. Mighty man, mighty woman, but greatly impoverished. Mighty man hiding from the enemies. Because the Bible says he was hiding what he was doing from the enemies. Mighty man, but afraid of his oppressors. That's the blemish. Look at verse 13. And Gideon said unto him, oh my Lord, if the Lord be, you see that, if I challenge that one. You say God is with us? With all these blemishes? If God be with us, why then is all this happening to us? You know, that's a logical question, isn't it? How can I be carrying this level of power? And this kind of blemish is still there following me up and down. And that blemish followed Joshua all the way from Egypt. All the way, more than 40 years. The blemish has been following him. And he was living right in the presence of the Lord. Look at him where he's sleeping. Look at the Ark of Covenant. Look at where he's sleeping inside the tabernacle. Only the curtain separates him from the Ark of Covenant. And the presence of God is constant. Sometimes he will be inside the temple. He will hear somebody talking from the altar. You will hear God talking to Moses. You will hear them conversing, discussing. So with those kind of exposure, directed to the power and the presence of God, and yet blemish was still hanging on. Reproach was still hanging on. So Gideon said, angel, this thing you are saying, if God is with us, why are we going through all this? Why all these blemishes in our lives? Verse 14. And the Lord looked upon him and said, go in this. That. He's still saying it though. He said, you don't know you have might. You don't know how powerful you are. Go in this your might, this your power. And thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have I not sent thee? Can you imagine somebody that is hiding his wheat inside cave? You are telling him, go and save Israel. From where? With what? Say, go and you are a mighty man. Verse 15. And he said unto him, oh my Lord, wherewith am I going to use? How am I going to do? Wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is... Do you see the blemish I'm talking about? Poverty. Poverty. Say, my family is poor in Manasseh. Poverty is a serious blemish. A serious reproach. So he started to tell, and that's what we are going to do here today in prayers. You are going to identify your own blemish, and we identify my own. We are going to report it to God. We are going to cry unto God to take away this blemish from us. Look at, he said, Lord, you are saying mighty man, you are saying all this. You see, my is the poorest in Manasseh. I am the least in my father's house. He said, even if you come to my father's house with the level of general poverty, I'm the worst there. So you see his condition. He rightly described and identified his blemish before the Lord. And brethren, do you know, after this encounter, was he poor again? No. He later became the judge of the nation. He became the president of the country. Poverty, that blemish was removed from his life permanently. That's what is going to happen to you here today. Every form of blemish that you are going to identify, the power of God will remove it from your life today. Because after this whole encounter, that was the end of that poverty in the life of Gideon. Look at Judges chapter 11. I'm showing you people that Bible himself called them mighty men of valor, but with blemishes. Judges chapter 11, look at verse 1. Now, Jephthah the Gileadite was a what? A mighty man of valor. Do you see how the Bible described him? A mighty man of valor. And he was what? This mighty man of valor, son of a harlot. You can see the stain, you can see the reproach. And Gilead begat Jephthah. Verse 2. And Gilead's wife bare him sons, and his wife's sons grew up, and they threw him out. They threw Jephthah out. And said unto him, thou shalt not inherit our father's house, for thou art the son of a strange woman. Then Jephthah fled from his brethren, and dwelt in the land of Tob. And there were gathered vain men to Jephthah, and went out with him. So he became a area boy. He just went out, and then all the whole rejected people also gathered themselves to him. He became their captain. And they started bandit operation, terrorizing everywhere. It was that banditry they were doing that saved the country. And they had to make him the king by force. You know, what we see today in politics did not start now. There was a time it's only bandits that can become king. If you don't have, because they are the one that can form army and kill carelessly. All the gentlemen, where they are doing gentlemen, wearing three-piece suit, those ones, they don't amount to anything. It's bandits that can kill and slaughter a whole village. Those are the ones. If they enter like this, they will quickly raise up hand. They will become their king. And that's why you see, even till now, in politics, it's those murderers, they are the ones that are making waves. Because you can't play the game with them. So you can see that Jephthah had all this strength, all this army and everything, yet he had this blemish. 2 Kings chapter 5. 2 Kings chapter 5. Look at verse 1. Now, Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, the chief of army staff of the country, he was the captain of the host of Syria, was a great man with his master. Do you see that? The Bible called him a great man, an honorable man, because by him the Lord has given deliverance unto Syria. Every war he went to, he won the war. As the chief of army staff, he was also a mighty man in valor. But you see, that but is what we want to remove from our lives today. That when they say all the good things, they will now say but. That's the blemish. He was a leper. That's the stain. Those are the things we want to get rid. And do you know that when he came and saw the man of God, saw Elisha, that but was removed. That but departed from his life. Now you can now write his story and write it complete without putting any but anywhere. That's what we want to cry for here today. So that when we are describing you, that you went to the power conference, and the Lord filled you with the pillar of power, and the pillar of fire, and the pillar of wisdom, and the pillar of wealth, and the pillar of purity, and all these things, there will be no but anywhere. There will be no but attached to it. Matthew 28. Look at verse 1. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord ascended from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door, and sat upon it. His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake, and became as dead men. Verse 9. This was the resurrection of the Lord. And as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Jesus met them, saying, all hail. And they came and held him by the feet and worshipped him. Then said Jesus unto them, be not afraid. Go tell my brethren that they go into Galilee, and there shall they see me. Verse 11. Now, when they were going, behold, some of the watch, that is the security people, the soldiers, came into the city and showed unto the chief priests all the things that were done. So those soldiers that were watching this grave, they came and reported to the chief priest. They look, the man has resurrected. Look at what happened. There was an earthquake. An angel came. We saw everything. So they reported to the chief priest all that was done. Verse 12. And when they were assembled with the elders, and they have taken counsel, they gave large money unto the soldiers. They gave money to the soldiers, saying, this is what the narrative we want you to now maintain from now, and don't change this narrative. Take this money. What you are going to begin to say is, his disciple came by night and stole him away while we slept. He said, this is what you should be saying now. Verse 14. And if this come to the governor's ear, we will persuade him and secure you. He said, don't worry, we will protect you, nothing will happen to you. So they took the money and did as they were taught. And this saying is commonly reported among the Jews till this day. That conspiracy theory stood. Brethren, listen carefully. We went to this program. Those who were there, those who connected to the program, you saw what happened. You experienced what happened. Nobody can take that one away. But we are not going to be ignorant, because darkness will want to create a theory. They want to create their own narrative. They want you to believe that nothing happened. That nothing happened. What is it? That not normal again now. That nothing happened there. And if you are not careful, you will buy it. They want to come with dreams. They want to come with experiences to convince even you. Do you know that that conspiracy theory got into some of the disciples? Like Thomas. Thomas even said, I don't believe it, except I see him and I put my finger into that nail. Say, that's only when I will believe. So conspiracy theory can convince even you yourself that you begin to doubt what you have. So that's why we are going to deal with any game the enemies want to play to steal what happened to us in that program. The Bible said that this became a common report to the point that all the Jews believe it today. Verse 16. Then the 11 disciples went away into Galilee, into a mountain where Jesus had appointed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Even though when they saw him, they were still doubting. Where did that come from? From that conspiracy theory, from that satanic report. So the enemies want to come and create some experiences with you. They want to come and give you some visions, some dreams, just to make you to doubt what happened, so that you can throw it away, so that you can discard those experiences. I told you on Friday night here that if you don't use the gift, they will go. They will depart. That's exactly what the enemy want to work on. So some doubt in verse 18. And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. And the power the Lord gave to us is real. You saw what happened here on Friday night. You saw what happened in this place. And you saw what the Lord has been showing you since that program. So we are going to pray now to deal with all these things and to deal with any kind of blemish that you might have in your life. Any kind of blemish. I don't know what blemish it might be. I don't know what reproach it might be. But I've shown you a few examples from the scripture. You saw the case of Joshua. The Bible didn't tell us the nature of the blemish or the reproach. But you say it was a reproach he has been carrying from Egypt. Possibly your own reproach is from the foundation. Foundational reproach. And we saw also the case of Gideon, that his own is not ordinary poverty that has generation. Say if you come to Benjamin, their own family is different. If you come to their family, his own life is different. You say, so it's step-by-step poverty. And it's at the lowest ladder. So brethren, these are the blemishes we want to deal with here today. Let's close our eyes. First of all, I want you to appreciate God for the power, for giving you the power, for filling you with his power, for enduring you with his power. Bless the name of the Lord and appreciate him. Glorify the Lord. Appreciate the Lord for his spirits, for his gifts, for his power, Bless the name of the Lord also for the victory the Lord has given to you already. Oh God, my Father, all the victories you gave me, all the things you did for me in this power conference, Father, I bring them now and I sacrifice them unto you.
Thank you for watching. If this message blessed you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to join our growing community of faith. You've just listened to the sermon, but there are powerful prayers that follow. Due to social media rules and guidelines, the prayers have been removed from this video. However, you can access the full prayers and more life-changing resources by visiting www.pastorhillary.org or downloading our app, Diadem Media. If you're in the London area, we'd love to have you fellowship with us in person at 4 Pegamoid Road, N18 2NG. If you have any questions about this message, want counseling from Pastor Hillary, or wish to share your testimonies following the prayers, please leave a comment below and someone from our team will get in touch. Until next time, may God bless you abundantly and guide you in all your ways. Stay victorious.